Okay, so welcome everybody to the second episode of the Cartoonicast. I'm once again joined by Geo, Relic, and Smitty. And today we are going to be going over what is the best MCU Marvel movie in honor of the new Marvel movie Avengers Age of Ultron coming out.
Infinity War?
What?
Infinity War, not Age of Ultron.
Yeah, we're in 2015 now.
Yeah, so we're not going to do any movies after Age of Ultron, only up to Age of Ultron. So basically, we're going to be doing, March of Madness style bracket tournament here. The movies we are going to be doing are Iron Man, Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3, Ant-Man, Captain America the First Avenger, Captain America the Winter Soldier, Civil War, Black Panther, Thor, Thor 2, Thor 3, Doctor Strange, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Avengers, and Avengers Age of Ultron. And then because that's 16, I also wanted to put Spider-Man in there. So what's going to happen is Thor Ragnarok and Doctor Strange, after those two go head to head, we are going to then pin the winner of that one up against Spider-Man Homecoming, and then the winner will move on to the next round. Another rule: if you have not seen one of the movies that we are going to be talking about, you may give your input, but you will not be allowed to vote which movie, because at the end of each one we're going to talk about the movies, and then we're going to vote on which one that we think should progress to the next round. If you have not seen one of them, you're not allowed to vote. I have a tiebreaker in place if needed. But otherwise, we're just going to kind of go through this. All right. Any questions?
Can I make an actual bracket for this?
I have an actual bracket up, so I will be keeping track of this.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, and then for the listeners, I had everyone here in their head think what movie they want to win and what movie they think is going to win, and we will reveal those at the end after we've picked a winner. All right, everyone good? Everyone ready? We all set? We good to go?
Yeah.
Okay. So, first up, Iron Man versus Iron Man 2. So, Gio, I hate to knock your one you want to win off right off the bat, but I feel like this isn't even a competition.
Well, alright. So, I do know a lot of people liked Iron Man, the first one, and that did help start everything. But in my opinion, I really did like Iron Man 2 because it introduced more of the characters. It helped better input the Avengers initiative. It had all these cool new suits. While the villain, he wasn't too good compared to the first one. It's the exact same plot. The bad guy's after his suit, and the government wants it.
Okay, but it's not better than the first one.
Because in my opinion, it is.
Okay. But in the first one, you get to meet Tony Stark, and it's the first time you ever get to see him, and it's well directed, it's funny, it's this nice little story that's in itself. It's not referencing all the other movies or setting anything up. It's its own individual film that you can enjoy, which is really the case. Yeah, at the end, in the after credits scene. But the movie itself is its own thing, unlike Iron Man 2, which is just setting up all this stuff, and it's oh look, it's Black Widow, oh look, it's War Machine.
Those are great points. Yep, you're just helping my point.
What? Okay.
Smitty, what do you think?
I have to agree with Nate. I think Iron Man is better than Iron Man 2.
I think Iron Man is the standard. That's what they started with.
Yeah. You've got alright, so you got Tony Stark. It's mostly Tony Stark, and then it's got Iron Man in it, and then it switches back and forth. And they explain who they are. In the second movie, it's kind of like Tony Stark. He's just being a cocky asshole in the entire movie, but then he learns from his mistake. Which is that?
That's the exact first movie.
It is. But you just got a shitty villain who's barely relevant, and no one really knows who he is. I'm a Russian man. My family and stuff is destroyed. I want Pet Bird.
The original person that helped make the arc reactor, and he's trying to get his rights back. It's difficult to understand.
I want my pet bird. I do not want to work for scum like you unless I get my pet bird.
Whiplash does not sound like that.
I know. That's what a Russian person sounds like.
But, okay. You have to keep in mind that this was the first time that people ever saw Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark, and this movie shaped comic book movies for forever. It was this really big thing. And also, Gio, with your logic of it being the same thing the second time, which is better, Hangover or Hangover 2?
I don't really care for both of them. I like the third one.
Oh my god.
That doesn't help the
Alright, so
point.
that instantly just makes none of Gio's votes count the rest of this.
Honestly, the only part that I even liked in Iron Man 2 was the ending when War Machine and Iron Man decided to put their difference together and work together.
and then he's
and
like,
they
oh,
went
the
back to-
ex-wife weapon or whatever,
Cool.
and it's just like,
Yeah.
okay. So I think we're all in agreement that we can vote now. Like, no one has any more points to make.
No, I haven't.
I'll
even
give you
seen
guys
the second
500
Iron Man,
bucks each if you vote for Iron Man.
500 V-Bucks. What? I'm gonna buy 2 dab emotes. I don't
You
think
better
so.
you better put in some bitcoins and you might change my mind.
All right, so we'll vote. Starting, we'll go Gio, me, Relic, Smitty, because that's the order we are in the call. So Gio, what's your vote?
Iron Man 2,
All
dude.
right, Iron Man 1.
Iron Man 1.
Also, Iron Man 1.
All right, so
You unfortunate
Yeah, fuck you.
not a surprise there. So yeah, Iron Man 1 moves on to round 2. Now, next up, we have Iron Man 3 versus Ant-Man. Who wants to start it off?
Okay. Personally, I wasn't a really big fan of Iron Man 3. I saw it in theaters. I wasn't really too impressed. I liked the Iron Patriot, but that's basically the only thing I really cared about. the
I
movie.
like.
Oh wait, and I also liked that little kid. He was kind of cool. But the reason I kind of like Ant-Man because it really brought in humor, and I really cared about how Ant-Man like kind of really cared about his family,
Yeah.
and just really, and I just found it really funny how like in the movie how they had the scene where they found the Marvel base or whatever it's called. I forgot what it's called. The Avengers head base. That's what it's called. Yeah, my bad. And and the Falcon was there. I just thought that was really funny. Overall, I just think it was a better movie than Iron Man 3 because it had more. No, I don't want to say it had content. I think it just had more content and had something to go with.
So
Plus, Iron Man 3 is just a reskin of Iron Man 2, but worse.
they're not all the same.
Basically.
So
Literally, the third one is they're taking the War Machine yet again to use it for their own purpose, and the War Machine gets evil.
So I will make a plea or a case for Iron Man 3 here. I'm not necessarily saying it's better, but I will say a few things about it. So first off, I think Iron Man 3 you really get to see more of Tony Stark, not just in how he's related to Iron Man, like his relationship to Iron Man, the superhero, but just more of him as a person. You get to see him grow as a character. And this movie was probably the only time ever that I've actually been surprised in a Marvel movie where there was a twist that I didn't see coming, with the whole thing with the Mandarin Orange being not actually Ben Kingsley. Like, he is just like this actor. Yeah, I understand that people were upset about it because it wasn't like that in the comic books. But I thought that it was a fun twist.
He was an actual character in the comics.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But the fact that he was an actor, no one saw that coming because it wasn't like that, and so it was an actual twist.
But they did have afterwards to make up to the fans. They had a one shot where it's like whatever the dude's name is, the actual actor. He's in prison, and then the actual whatever the dude is, was it 10 Rings? That Mandarin, I think. They actually have him. He's an actual character, but he breaks out the actor in prison.
Okay, but then the other thing with Ant-Man is, this bothers me a lot about Ant-Man, is that Edgar Wright, who's my favorite director, was supposed to write and direct that movie, and then he got fired because he was making something too original and not formulaic enough. And so there's little like bits and pieces of cool stuff in there that you can see was his doing, but a lot of the movie just kind of came out really generic because they fired him. Like, probably one of the worst villains in any Marvel movie, the bald dude. I don't think anyone knows the name of him. And
I don't.
No, like what?
Yellow Jacket?
Yeah, no, but like the actual guy's name, like, yeah, it just.
Oh fuck!
No idea.
Yellow
Right?
Jacket.
Exactly. Yep.
The villain in Iron Man 3 was actually interesting, and I feel like I actually like Ben Kingsley did a good job, and I just feel like Iron Man 3 kind of had a more well-rounded story because of that. Ant-Man had some funny moments and it had a couple cool shots that were neat, but I think overall, as in a movie entirely, I think Iron Man 3 is a little bit better than Ant-Man. Maybe an unpopular opinion, but that's just me. Do you have anything to say on the matter?
Yes. I agree with Nate. But I would say, and I feel like Ant-Man's better, in my opinion. I do like the fact in Iron Man 3 where it shows him like a lot without his armor, like who he is and how he fights. Like,
and then at the end with all his armor.
Yeah, he can't. Yeah, well, yeah, there's that. And it was like, he can't keep relying on his armor. So he had to like. Well, then again, but it's sort of like he had to build a new one, so he didn't learn as much.
Iron Man 2.
I like it. Yeah, I know. That's why I don't like Iron Man 2, Gio.
God.
Now, I also like the fact that he gave a child a lethal weapon to beat up a bully.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny. And Ant-Man I like a lot more because he fights for a little bit more for his family, and then he's not really sure like what he wants to be. As soon as he gets the power of the outfit, he knows this is too big for him, so he instantly throws it back.
No pun intended.
It's like, yeah. And I don't know, it had a perfect amount of comedy. It had a very serious plot. It had a pretty big, I don't know, say moral kind of, but it was, I don't know. To me, I feel like Ant-Man was like a slightly better movie than Iron Man 3. I do find Iron Man 3 better than Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can all agree on that. But I have to go with Ant-Man.
I will say
my
that
opinion.
I think Ant-Man, I had a more enjoyable theater experience. I was laughing a lot
definitely.
more,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
I was enjoying
that's
myself.
the case
But
for
just
me.
in my opinion, looking back on them, I think there's a lot wrong. Like a lot of the flaws come out in Ant-Man when I think back to it. But when I think back to Iron Man 3, a lot of the better things come out. But it seems like you guys are all in agreement about Ant-Man, and I'm kind of on the fence about this, so we can push Ant-Man forward if that's what you guys all want.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, did Gio say
Alright.
anything about it? Or about this, or does he just not care?
Do you have anything else to add, Gio?
Yeah, so Iron Man 3 is just basically a copy of Iron Man 2.
All right, so
The-
Captain
so
America, the
Ant-Man-
First Avenger versus Captain America, the Winter Soldier. All right, Gio, how about this? You can start this one off, Gio.
All right. So for Captain America, it's just more of an origin story. While that is great, it isn't too amazing because it's just, in my opinion, I'm not a big fan of war movies, and that's what it kind of is. But then when you have Captain America, the Winter Soldier, it takes it to a different level. It makes it go down a more darker path of him reliving his past while introducing new things. And also the comedic value of the Falcon had in that movie was pretty funny. They had some really good fight scenes, and this is what did introduce the Russo brothers into the other Marvel movies. Also with the Winter Soldier, that is probably in one of my top favorite movies, but it's not my most favorite, obviously. Yeah, and then that sets up the next movie, which sets up more. So yeah.
All right, yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. I think that the action in the first Avenger, the first Captain America movie, was kind of, and it was like, yeah, it was cool to see Captain America on the big screen for the first time and everything. And I thought there were some good little like nods in there, like, to the comic books and stuff. But I think the second one, I remember going in and being like, wow, that was really cool. And that was like a really good movie. And the action was awesome. I agree with you that the Falcon, Anthony Mackie, really does bring a lot to the MCU as a character. He's really funny and engaging. And like Peggy Carter, I'm not a big fan of, didn't watch the show. She was just kind of like, all right, yeah, she can get old and die and he can have sex with her daughter or whatever. Like, I don't care. So
I thought that was a bit weird.
Yeah.
Creepy.
Well, we can get to that when we get to.
I like the fact when they nod their heads, like, "Yeah, you fuck her daughter."
That's the next. That's Civil War. We're getting to that one after this, Smitty.
95-year
I'm just saying, I like that part. It was funny.
Okay, well, yeah. So I don't really like. There's the first Avenger. It's all right. It's okay movie. I don't know. Anyone have anything else to say about those?
Well, I just wanted to say, like, I really, really enjoyed Winter Soldier, as Gio, one of you guys mentioned, of how like there was overall more of, I don't want to say violence, but more like fighting,
Action.
and it was action. Yeah, that's the word. And it just generally gave more, like, when we watch superhero like movies or read the comics, we are in it for the story and action. That's usually the primary two things that we look for, and I feel like Winter Soldier focused on both of those, while Captain America kind of just focused on the story of.
They're just like, oh look, they were too busy going, oh look, Captain America, versus actually like caring about the character and like developing him.
Yeah.
Plus CGI Chris Evans was a little iffy there.
But one thing I really enjoyed about Winter Soldier, of how like at the very end, like how it leads on to Civil War, on how much Captain America really wants like to bring back his Bucky. And I just kind of just really enjoyed how no matter what, he still has faith in his friends. While in the first movie, he didn't like he was sad that Bucky fell off the cliff, but that's like literally the only feels that I have in the entire movie. But he didn't even really die, so it kind of was false feelings once you watch Winter Soldier.
Right. Smitty?
All right, so in the first Captain America movie, I liked it a lot because I like World War II. I just like that feeling, and I liked how he had to
Smitty
like.
likes Nazis.
Yeah. No.
The feeling of fear of being a Jew.
I like the fact that he had to prove himself worthy even when no one accepted him because he was such a weakling. I like that a lot. I like how he had like, how do I describe this? I like how he like just proved himself worthy. But I like Winter Soldier more just because it had more action, and I like the fact that like Shield was taken down completely, so he was like the whole entire government was against him. I don't know. It just seemed more like interesting than the first one.
Yeah, I think that this one was a pretty easy decision as well. I think
Yeah,
can agree that Winter Soldier moves on. All right.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen this one of these movies, so I will not be able to vote on this one. But Captain America: Civil War versus Black Panther. So right off the bat, I'm just gonna say I still haven't seen Black Panther. Right off the bat, I'm gonna say I was not a fan of Civil War. I know a lot of people hyped it up at the time, especially we're like, this is the best superhero movie of all time. I didn't really like anything about Civil War except the fight scene and Spider-Man, which was basically the fight scene. He had one other scene besides that. Black Panther was kind of cool in the movie. Like, he had some cool scenes, I guess, but he's
better in that movie than his own movie.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen Black Panther. At least I was interested enough to see Civil War in theaters, but to me, I didn't really like Civil War. Smitty, what do you think? Because you've been going last.
I'm gonna have to go Civil War, to be honest.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
No logic behind it or anything. No one to talk about
Just
it.
because I like the sound of the title. It sounds good.
I liked all right, in Civil War there was one thing I really didn't like about it. There's like two things. One, just like trailer wise, I didn't like the fact that they had to show Spider-Man. I really thought it would have been really interesting if they didn't show him, and it was a surprise to everyone.
Yeah, but if they show Spider-Man, they could probably get more people.
They get more people. But it would have been more interesting to be like, whoa, my God, Spider-Man, he's getting his own movie. This is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
But they're like, now we want more money, so we're going to show off Spider-Man for a bit.
Yeah.
They did it at the last second, too. That was like one of the last trailers they released it for that movie.
Yeah, I was actually I was like surprised. I was like, wow, they actually might not show Spider-Man in any of the trailers. That's really cool. And then they did, and obviously I was excited because I was like, oh, it's Spider-Man. And then I was like, oh, well, that's real for the movie now.
In the beginning of the movie, it shows what was her name, Scarlet, that like the blows up. Scarlet Witch kind of blows up a building. I feel like that would have been like solved, and like a lot of the problems if they just brought Vision, which was at home doing nothing, and he could have helped, but he didn't, which was very confusing to me because he could just phase through walls, and he would just been like, "All right, I got the guy, I got him. He's good to go. We can just end the mission right now." Oh, cool.
How would he be able to do that? The guy was in mid-explosion. She was compressing it to get.
No. In the beginning of the fight, before like anything, before they even like show their location, he would have just gone in, whoop whoop, got out.
I think wasn't in that movie they said the Vision was having like a problem with phasing, and that's why he was staying at the Avengers Mansion.
No, he was trying to become more human, so he stayed back.
They still.
It wasn't very clear, but he should have been there. That was a big problem. Black Panther, I liked a bit. Like. I like how he had to be like become like
the Black Panther.
Yeah, Black Panther. Yeah, it's really just becoming Black Panther. But I was like, it just didn't have that much like thrill to me as Civil War did. It was like he was just trying to get back his kingdom.
Oh yeah, the Civil War. You got look arc reactor. Ooh, look a shield. Ooh, arrows. People shrinking. Black Panther. Oh, rhino and spears.
Yeah, it was like in Civil War. Which, like, I don't know. I knew this was going to happen. It was very obvious. Like, at the end, it was like, oh, just in case you need us, have a phone. Which defeats the whole purpose of their entire fight. But, like, I don't know. But, like, they have to set up for, like, fucking Infinity War. So, like, this makes sense. But I don't know. But I still feel like, I don't know, I just enjoyed Civil War more than Black Panther.
All right. So, what I want to say is that I wasn't really too fond of Civil War. I just didn't really get it. I kind of somewhat predicted it before I even watched it. I was like, okay, so they're gonna fight, but then some things are gonna happen to set up for the next Avengers movie, and I was kind of right in a way. But for Black Panther, I enjoyed it, but I feel like people were kind of overhyping it prior to me watching it. I wouldn't say it's a bad movie overall. I say it has a fair amount of action, and it really. I don't want to spoil too much for you, Nate, because you haven't seen a movie, but it really shows how Sorry, you said so.
I can't imagine that I'm gonna care. There's gonna be anything in that movie that I'm gonna be like, dang, I didn't see that coming.
There wasn't really anything that led to the next movie. But there wasn't really any Easter eggs that really showed oh, this part's going to be in the next movie. It was just him in his own thing.
Yeah, but one thing I did enjoy about Black Panther is how Black Panther was defeated by that guy. I don't remember his name, but he had a bunch of bumps on his body.
Killmonger.
Yeah.
The Human Torch.
Michael Jordan.
I liked how in the end Black Panther took him out because he was so determined to come back and set everything right. I really did like that. Although I just didn't really get Civil War. I watched it in theaters with my family. I enjoyed it at the moment, but when I really look back at it, I can't really say much about it.
Yeah, my sister really likes that movie, and I tried to watch it a second time, and I couldn't. I was I didn't realize how much. Even the first time I watched it, I didn't realize how much I only cared about seeing Spider-Man until he was off screen. Once he was done in the movie, I just immediately lost all interest because I was that was the only part I actually cared about. And then he left, and I was oh well, I don't care. It's just more Tony Stark arguing with Captain America in every single Avengers movie.
Team Captain America.
So yeah, not really a big fan of that, but I can't vote. So, Gio, what's your vote?
All right, so I wasn't a fan of either movies. The reason with Civil War is because the Sokovia Accords, so you have to register to be a hero because of these events, and he lists them off. The first one with the Hulk. He says that's the Hulk's fault. No, it's not. It's General Ross, the guy that's going to have Sokovia Accords. He's the one that attacked the Hulk. Then the second one, the first Avengers. It's Tony's fault they used his tower to open the portal for the Chitauri. Captain America, the Winter Soldier. It's not Captain America's fault. It's not S.H.I.E.L.D.'s fault. It's Tony Stark's fault for providing the technology that backfired and attacked people. And then for Age of Ultron, Tony's the one that made Ultron, so he should be held most accountable for all of them. And then
he does. He admits to it. That's the whole purpose. That's why he's on that side, because he's we check because of the actions that we make. Sure, it's mainly Tony Stark, and they should just make a list that's just him. But he's still trying to agree with him, be like, "Hey, guys, we shouldn't be going too crazy." He learns from his mistakes.
All right. Well, we can't stay too long on this one. So, Gio, what's your vote?
Fine, Civil War.
Civil War. All right.
Black Panther.
Black Panther. Smitty.
Civil War.
All right.
Fuck.
Civil War moves on. Okay.
I already know that's going to get eliminated next game, just saying, but whatever.
All right.
Continue.
Well, next we have Thor versus Thor the Dark World. This is the other one I can't participate in because I have not seen Thor the Dark World.
No.
But I did not like Thor. So...
Thor the Dark World was garbage. It was just pure fucking garbage.
Okay,
it was so bad.
Smitty and Gio, please argue over this because I have not seen
what
the
are the
second
two options? Thor the Dark World and what?
Thor.
Okay.
Yeah, come on, Theo. Gio, it's gotta be Thor, right? Come on.
Yeah.
Thor.
Okay. The reason is Thor. It's more of a simple plot. You're introduced to everyone and the characters. It's not too much of all these things with the gods. But then you have the Dark World. You're introduced to this weapon, the Aether, which is later found out to be an Infinity Stone. You're introduced to MacLeod and his evil elf army. Then you also have Loki there, and then you have people dying, and you have the whole thing with Heimdall, and it just gets confusing. And then there's the whole thing where they have to get to 7 different planets, and they have to have them aligned to destroy the Earth. And then while the Earth's under attack, no other Avenger bothers to come in.
Yeah, it's just really dumb. It's just pure stupid dumb.
So you guys are both completely in agreement. Thor's better.
Yeah, Thor's absolutely better.
All
Fun
right.
fact about
Thor:
Thor.
The Dark World is my most hated Marvel movie out of all.
Yeah.
But we all know that
the worst.
Ragnarok beat.
Oh,
both.
absolutely.
Hey, we're getting to that one, all right? Because next up we have Thor Ragnarok versus Doctor Strange. Unpopular opinion, did not like Thor Ragnarok. Went, saw it in theaters, relatively crowded theater, didn't laugh once. Actually, no, I chuckled when Bruce Banner jumped out of the plane and he thought he was gonna land as the Hulk, but he just falls and hits his head as Bruce Banner and like dies or whatever. I laughed at that because I genuinely didn't expect it. But everything else, I was like, this is still, people are saying this is all new and different, but I'm like, yeah, it's colorful and it's cool, but it's still just a paint by numbers Marvel movie.
The problem I think I have with it is like it's trying to be like Guardians of the Galaxy like a lot, but it's like it's still good though. Like I know it's trying to be like that, and it's just like kind of like
still better than the other Thor movies.
Yeah, but it was still good though. Like if it's not broke, don't fix it. Like it worked.
Also, one other thing I wanted to say is Thor in every other movie before this was very like a solid guy. He was very serious. Any humor that he had came from him being kind of a fish out of water because he didn't Earth and stuff. And then they realized that wasn't enough for him to carry his own film. So they basically made him Tony Stark in this movie. Like, take any line that Thor says in Thor Ragnarok, and you can basically see Iron Man saying it, except Robert Downey Jr. has a much better comedic delivery than Chris Hemsworth. So I just didn't really connect to Thor at all. I did like the Hulk in the movie. I think this was probably the best we've seen of the Hulk so far in the MCU. But that was the only thing. I didn't like the girl that I'm sure is going to be in the new Avengers movie. Jeff Goldblum.
Nah, I bet she does.
Yeah, I bet she does.
And then the Jeff Goldblum, I like Jeff Goldblum, so he was fine, but he was Jeff Goldblum. And then Doctor Strange, I don't know, I kind of the same thing. But at the same time, Doctor Strange, I was just watching this like, yeah, I think after this I'm done with Marvel movies. It wasn't bad, but it's just the same thing. I just watched this, bored out of my mind. The visuals were cool, but I was like, I just don't care. I don't know. Anyone want to comment?
Well, personally, I think Doctor Strange had a really weird backstory if you really think about it. He was a doctor, obviously, by his name.
And he was strange.
And he was strange because he couldn't stop moving his hands, so he seeked for surgery or some kind of treatment to help him with that. And boom, he has wizard powers now. Yeah. Like I find that really weird how that just made the jump of a regular guy looking for help, and then he's like the all-powerful, like...
Which is weird, because you'd think more people would kind of do that then, like more bad guys. It's like, oh, well, if my henchmen, like Thanos was like, oh, my henchmen, I can just make them these all-powerful wizards just by having them do a little bit of training. Then I'll just have them do some training, and then I'll have all these all-powerful wizards at my side to help me conquer the universe.
See, okay, what was the other movie, Thor Ragnarok?
Yeah.
Okay, what I did like about Thor Ragnarok, I really enjoyed the Hulk in that movie, just personally, because he was just like, he just totally forgot everything, and he's just like this all like champion.
And they had him casually speak as well.
Yeah, he had him casually speak as well, and then there was like the scene where he was like nude and shit, and he was like, Thor's just like looking. That's like, I felt like, personally, I like Thor Ragnarok for the reason where the ending was kind of interesting, how it wasn't about preventing Ragnarok but creating Ragnarok. Is that I'm correct about this, right?
Yeah, that was interesting. Yeah. I thought I was like, oh, that's kind of a cool.
But and also one thing I did like about Thor Ragnarok more than Doctor Strange is that it had humor in it. I feel like Doctor Strange was boring for the main reason where it was just too serious. Like, I know like Marvel movies like to be serious, but I feel like that was just too serious of a guy just complaining about his hand issues.
But that's his whole life there. He's a neurosurgeon, so he can't do anything.
But also, I thought the humor didn't land. When they did try to do humor with like his cape and stuff, being like all magic and like talking.
I thought that was alright.
I was like, I didn't really find that funny.
The only time I laughed was like Wong listening to Single Ladies.
Yeah, that was kind of fun.
When you ended up, that's when I laughed the most.
And the Wi-Fi password.
I thought that was really funny.
I
remember the Wi-Fi password part. I forgot about that.
That was
funny. That was funny. It's been a while since I've seen Doctor Strange. So I don't remember too much of it, but
yeah,
it's on Netflix currently.
But I would say I don't know. Does anyone else have anything to add?
Smitty.
I'll go.
Now everyone really pointed out the same things I would point it out.
Okay, so Ragnarok.
Gio, do you have anything to say, Gio?
Yeah, you just quick things. So I did enjoy Thor Ragnarok more than Doctor Strange. At the same time, that movie is probably like one of the most serious events they had in comics. And while they did take out some things I would like to see, they did add some other things and smaller Easter eggs. Like instead of part of Thor Ragnarok, there's a android Thor. They didn't have that. And instead they added they had Beta Ray Bill, who's basically a horse Thor. They had him as like a statue of one of the champions in there. So it was cool. Doctor Strange, yeah, it was like more of just basically special effects, and like you already get kind of the same feeling with a Scarlet Witch, but not on like the same level.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then this, you guys all saw it, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The part where the bald lady turns out she's been using the thing and telling them not to do what her student did. It's like, oh look, she's gonna die and get a redeemable death, and look, she does.
Yeah, it was very paint by number. I did. Like,
See, I really feel like
he was better in Thor Ragnarok.
Doctor Strange was a lot similar to Spider-Man, just a regular guy. Then one day he gets powers, he experiments with these powers, and he's expected to prevent a catastrophe. I feel like it was kind of similar to Spider-Man. I'm talking about this conversation, but I won't.
It's kind of every superhero movie dumbed down.
I guess you're right about that. But overall, I think Ragnarok had a bit more content.
Yeah, I would
rather
agree.
than Doctor Strange.
Yeah, my vote is Ragnarok as well. Ragnarok as well. Everyone saying Ragnarok here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, actually, what we're gonna do, because of the irregular number of movies we have, we're gonna keep talking about Thor Ragnarok, but instead of it being pinned up against Doctor Strange, we're gonna go against Spider-Man: Homecoming. And in my opinion, this isn't even a competition.
Yeah, it is.
Spider-Man: Homecoming is fantastic. It's so much funnier. The humor is so much better than in Thor Ragnarok. It's like it doesn't feel like a Marvel movie. It was one of my biggest issues with Thor movie, where it just doesn't, where it felt too much like a Marvel movie. This one was just its own thing.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah.
I would also have to agree. Spider-Man hands down better. There was only one problem I ever had in that movie, and it was like the way Tony treated Peter. Like, yeah, he used them. And I was trying to clear. That's kind of like what Tony does. He kind of does it. But then it's like how he treats him after, like what he does with his mistakes. Like, what do you expect? You hype him up to becoming an Avenger. You use him as a tool. You throw him to the side. You don't ever call or text him about anything you need to do. And then you're like, when he tries to help, you're like, you don't expect him to do anything. And he's like, fine, I guess I'll do it on my own. And then he tries that. And then he yells at him for it.
Okay, so mentioning this, Iron Man blames Peter for a lot of things, but then if you look back, Iron Man made a lot of freaking mistakes from the other movies. You know how he made Ultron, and
he does try to explain that that's what he's trying to do, make him not like him, a lot.
It's like, yeah, and I get, yeah.
One thing I did like. Oh, sorry, you talk to me.
Yeah, but still, it's like him. He's still using him, and then he threw him aside and did nothing. And then it's like, if I was him, I'd just get fucking angry.
Yeah, but I think the one thing I did like about Spider-Man: Homecoming is a lot of movies with Tony Stark kind of pass him off as kind of snarky and stuff, but kind of they don't. In this movie, they actually show Tony Stark is actually a jerk. He's not someone you would want to spend time with. He's not a likable person, which I feel like the other movies don't really do. They kind of I don't know what the word.
Dip into it at some point.
Because it shows them how much Peter looked up to him.
I feel like they overvalue Tony Stark in other movies. Kind of make him this god figure. Tony Stark is so amazing. He's so cool. Look at how funny
they did a pretty
cool
good job of making him an asshole in Iron Man 2.
Okay, well, we're not talking about that movie.
You know what, Gio? You know what? I guess I gotta kind of like Iron Man 2 because Peter Parker was in that.
Yep.
There we go. We'll boost little points up on that.
Yeah, we'll switch over to Iron Man 2 instead of Iron Man 1. We'll all the way back to.
Okay, so Iron Man 1 and 2. Which one do you think is better? No, I'm kidding.
No, okay, so does anyone else have anything to say about this?
Alexa, what the hell? Sorry, when I said that, Alexa said something.
No one cares, Relic. Do anyone have anything else to say about this? I think we're all in agreement. Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man, Relic, anything to say?
Spider-Man was better.
Spider-Man, yeah. I think that was a pretty easy one. I thought that Thor was a slightly above average Ragnarok, but I thought Spider-Man was. So now we're going to get into one that I think might be a little controversial here, which is Guardians of the Galaxy versus Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Ooh,
That's
okay.
easy for me.
It's the same movie.
Yeah, but I think, in my opinion, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 kind of did it better. Because I
like
think
to agree.
that the first movie, I think a lot of the reasons that people are like, oh, the first movie is so good and the second one is so forgettable is, yeah, they were similar. It's just they were similar, and then that happened. It just so happened that the Guardians of the Galaxy 1 came out first. If it was the other way around, I feel like there would be no competition. I feel like everybody, hands down, would be like, objectively speaking, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is better. The better shot, more colorful, and the biggest flaw with the first Guardians of the Galaxy, really generic, boring villain, which is completely fixed in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Yes.
In Guardians of the... Oh, God.
Nate, is this your favorite movie?
I'm not saying what my answer is for this until the end's me.
Okay.
Keep going.
So, I feel like in Guardians of the Galaxy 1, the villain did not have much to him. He's kind of like, oh, I have this staff. I'm going to destroy the galaxy. Oh, no, I'm dead now. But I killed Groot, so it's all fine. Oh, wait, no, I didn't.
You can tell in that movie James Gunn really wanted to use Thanos, but they're like, you can't, so you can just use him a little bit, but then you can use, like, his minion.
Oh, yeah, by the way, that purple rock, that's an Infinity Stone, right?
Yes.
Correct, yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure. But I just think Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is way better because they actually they gave more about how Star-Lord's father was like you'd like respected him in the beginning, and then like it turned around as soon as he said, I regretted putting that tumor inside her head, and
that felt kind of forced at that
little
point.
Bit, but also that was one of those moments
Yeah.
I didn't expect it. I was like, there were people in the movie theater that I could hear go like, oh shit. Like, I was like, okay. Like, I didn't expect, like, that's one of those few times in a Marvel movie where I was like, okay, I didn't expect that. Like, I was like, I knew something was up with this guy, but I was like, when he said that, I was like, okay. Yeah, no, I 100% agree. You were definitely the bad guy.
I think my favorite thing overall in any of the Guardian of the Galaxy movies, or either of them, should I say, not any of them, is I love the soundtrack because the soundtrack is just perfect because one, it's my kind of music, and two, I just feel like it's very fitting to like the situation and how it actually has ties to like Star-Lord's backstory of like how his mother gave him that, was it the MP3 player? Was it an MP3 player?
The Walkman.
Yeah, the Walkman.
I was gonna say, if I didn't know any better, if I didn't know nothing about music, I would think that those songs were written for the movie. They're just done so well, and they're incorporated. It's not like it's Suicide Squad, where it's like, let's just shove a bunch of random songs in here and just see what happens. It's like, it was very deliberate. Yeah. What are we, some kind of Guardians of the Galaxy? They never said that. That's
for the Galaxy Guardians. That's not copywritten.
So yeah, I think that I think, just in my opinion, I think certain things were better in the first one. I thought adult Groot probably better than Baby Groot. Baby Groot was cute and like kind of a novelty, but I think overall adult Groot was better in my opinion. I don't know. I could kind of go either way on that.
Oh no, I gotta go with Baby Groot. I thought it was much
I might be wrong on this, but how is he not an adult by Infinity War? Because Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 takes like not too long after the first one, which is like still a little around 2010-ish. And now that they're at 2018 in Infinity War, and he's only a teen now.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. Yeah, I did like Baby Groot. I will say one of the funniest scenes in the movie, one of the ones I was laughing the hardest at, was when Rocket was locked up and he needed Baby Groot to go get the keys for him.
Oh, yeah.
And Baby Groot was like bringing back like a severed finger and stuff.
No, severed toe.
Yeah, severed toe. That was great. And
the beginning was very good.
I also really like. Which one? The beginning of which one? Oh, like 2?
Just the beginning.
When he's dancing, when he's just dancing while they're all fighting.
I love that so much.
That was great.
Oh, I love the intro scene.
That was like a perfect adult.
Just yes, Relic. Agreed. Good point, Relic. That's what Smitty said.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah,
talking.
I'm just repeating.
Okay, and then I think one thing I really liked about the second one as well was that they really took good use of, I think, Dave Bautista as Drax in this one. He didn't really have a lot of lines in the first one, but I thought he was really funny. In the second one, he has way more lines, and I think he was probably consistently the funniest character in the movie. With Drax, like, talking to Mantis and stuff, how he kept calling her ugly. Oh my god, I thought it was hilarious. So
No, he was like, I can't kill it from the outside, so I must go in the inside.
That's great.
You see him laughing.
Yeah. So
Or like, there's like, my father always tells me the story of how I was born every time we have a party or whatever.
yeah. That's So
And it got super dark at the end where it's like the inside of the planet's just filled with the bones of the children.
Oh yeah.
but then he turns into Pac-Man.
Yeah, so it makes everything better.
So
Ready Player One.
yeah. Anyone? So anyone? My vote is Volume 2. Anyone?
Yep.
Otherwise-
Volume 2.
Damn.
All right, Volume 2.
What about Gio? I didn't hear him.
Yo, you don't get a fucking opinion.
I mean, what's your opinion?
I liked Volume 1.
Yeah, I know
Because
Gio's already
it-
talked to him about this already. But
Yeah, because Volume 2's meant more for kind of like action, more of like Peter side. In Volume 1, you get to learn kind of just like who like the basics of Moor is. You get to learn a little bit about Rocket Raccoon. You had the adult Groot, and then you had the whole thing about the Infinity Stone, which was cool seeing that in action instead of just being a normal fighting, just a normal
Howard the
bad guy.
Duck.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
best scene.
Oh, I thought we were actually discussing it. Okay, never mind.
No, like he was at
I
the
really-
end.
I really like.
like,
how
wait, that's an
the-
MC
one as well.
I really like how
Yes.
the guardian, the stone was just left unprotected, all alone. Like one of the most powerful items in the universe.
Look at one guy had the collector had it. Guy DJ from Star Wars had it.
Yeah, 'cause,
Alright.
like he went out to go get it, but it was like no one protecting it. It was just sitting there.
Yeah. All right. Well, we gotta keep moving. So this should be another pretty easy one. I don't know how long we're gonna have to spend on this one, but Avengers versus Avengers: Age of Ultron. I mean, like,
Avengers.
Avengers.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
just-
Are we just done? Are we just done?
that was like
Yeah,
the
Avengers.
biggest movie of all time for like how many years? Like the first Avengers movie, like exploded. It was like this cultural phenomenon when the first everyone was losing their minds.
And then it helped Iron Man 3 so much, like the lines for those
Oh my
movies.
God.
Like,
Oh my god, you're just
Can we
stop.
stop about Iron Man?
Alright, so we got Avengers. Good. Alright, move on to the
No,
next
no,
one.
hold on. Okay, we should talk about why Avengers: Age of Ultron sucks.
okay,
I mean, it's
I
just
can
the whole
talk about
I mean, it doesn't suck. It's just
Gio,
like
how about we'll just have Gio real quick go on a big rant about why he hated Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Okay.
There's
So,
no Loki.
so the difference between Avengers and Avengers: Age of Ultron is the reason people liked it is because the first one it was easygoing. It was able to set up the next set of movies just easily. Then the next one, you just had all of a sudden this new relationship with some of the characters, and people didn't like that. And then they had a difficult time setting up the future movies, and they had to have all these characters and all these battles, and that was just too much for Josh Whedon.
Yeah, that's why that was the movie that kind of had him stop. And the whole movie is just setting up other movies. Like it didn't have
The
its own
previous
plot.
one- Yeah, the previous one, it's just like, oh, they can just feed off of Avengers into this next thing. And then for Age of Ultron, it's like, no, this whole movie needs to set up these other movies instead of it being its own movie, and the other movies can just base off of that movie.
And to be honest, I'm one of the people that's not a big fan of Loki. And I was looking at the trailers for Age of Ultron. Like, Ultron looks awesome. He looks like a real badass. He could easily be better than Loki. And then just like, I don't know, I feel like they kind of, if they made him more serious and less jokey and just really intimidating, I would have been like, dang, this guy is freaking scary. But they just were like, oh, let's throw some jokes in there. This is a Marvel movie after all. He's got to be funny. A funny robot. Look at him,
Connect to the
everybody.
internet.
no strings attached to me.
Pinocchio.
That sounds like a freaking Overwatch taunt. Like,
No, it's from Pinocchio.
Yeah.
well, yeah, I know. Well, yeah, I know it's from Pinocchio. They made a song about it.
I like the chopping wood scene.
They just ripped it.
My favorite scene in Avengers: Age of Ultron was the scene where they got eaten by a whale.
Oh, funny. Okay, that's a
Not
Pinocchio
the
reference.
Black Widow whole
Ooh.
sexual tension.
Oh yeah. Okay, that that spawned a bunch of interesting fan drawings on
Next
the
Oh my
time,
God,
I'm sure.
Pinocchio
Yes.
confirmed.
Yeah, all right. So next pair up we got here, we've got Iron Man 1 versus Pinocchio. Oh, sorry. Iron Man 1 versus Ant-Man. This one's tougher than the other one, but I still think I have a pretty clear answer in my head. Does anyone want to start?
I want to say Ant-Man mostly because
Well, Relic's wrong, so...
Okay.
I mean, I have to agree with Relic.
Suck my dick.
What? You guys think Ant-Man over the first Iron Man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Gio? What do you say?
Ant-Man.
Why? Wait, why? Iron Man is
Suck it, Nick.
such an objectively better movie. You see,
It's so funny because like it's obviously which one's gonna win this one. He's like the only one on his side.
I said it's harder, but I have my. I know what I think is going to win. For me, it was easy. I think just there's so much like that Ant-Man does poorly, in my opinion. The weak villain and just the plot. Then Paul Rudd was charming in it, but like you can't beat Robert Downey Jr.'s first time being Iron Man. It was such like a pivotal moment in culture when you first see Robert Downey Jr. put on the Iron Man suit, and then Paul Rudd, I don't know, I think it's Ant-Man's honestly a bit of a forgettable movie, and Iron Man is this thing that launched the biggest movie franchise in the universe, and just because it's so well made and well directed, and it has like a message in there that more than just being bad is bad and being good is good. It's a bit more because Tony Stark was like this weapons dealer. It's a bit more gray. It's not as black and white. And I think overall it's just a much better made movie with a better villain, better hero, better cast. I
agree with all those. And to me, I just find them neck to neck to be better. But I just enjoyed watching Ant-Man more.
Goddamn communists.
Ant-Man.
All right, we're moving on.
Is that your only argument? Goddamn. I'm just kidding.
That whole thing I said was not an argument.
It was invalid. Sorry, I was sleeping.
Okay. So, all right, we'll move Ant-Man on, whatever. All right,
whatever.
Next up, so now Ant-Man is in the final four. Next up, we have Civil War versus Winter Soldier. I don't know how much we're going to need to talk about this. I think Winter Soldier's better.
Wait, Iron Man? Sorry, which can you say that again?
Civil War, Winter Soldier, Relic. Keep it up. Okay. Which one? All right, not talking to Relic. So, yeah, I think Winter Soldier, I don't know, Civil War just, I feel like at Winter Soldier, you're watching this and it's like, oh, that's sweet that Captain America cares this much about Bucky. But in Civil War, you're like, all right, dude, this guy's clearly a threat to society. Just I get he's your friend, but if they need to take him to jail or kill him or whatever, whatever. I would let people kill Gio if they needed to. And we're good friends. But, it's come on, man. I get your Captain America and you have to be all Mr. Moral or whatever. But, I feel like it would have been cool if he had to actually, deal with, my friend is killing all these people. So I need to, sacrifice one for the good of many. But then it's no, just the whole movie. He's just Bucky, I like Bucky. I want to suck Bucky's dick.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel like Nate has, seriously personal problems against Civil War.
I was not a big fan of them.
No one was.
I thought Winter Soldier. No, a lot of people like it. I was not a fan. I thought Winter Soldier was very good.
Winter Soldier was great.
At least the first time I saw it. I don't know if I didn't like it that much the second time I saw it, but it's still definitely better than Civil War.
It's good every time.
Smitty, you have anything to say on that?
I'm gonna have to go Civil War.
Civil War. Anything else? Anything other than that? You want to add anything?
I just have to agree with Nate. I did really hate the fact that his morals oh, Bucky, God damn it, Bucky, you're so goddamn beautiful.
Yeah.
I just can't leave you, Bucky. I love those long flowing hair. I don't care that you try to kill me. I don't care anything. I don't care about the whole world's against us. I want to be together.
If you're living, then it's all fine. I love you, and I miss
hated that
you.
so much.
Also, I will say that in my opinion, the twist in Civil War with it being the Winter Soldier that killed Stark's parents was so obvious that I didn't even realize that it was a twist. When people were talking to me after the movie about, they're like, oh man, that twist was crazy. I was like, wait, what are you talking about? What's the twist? And they're like, the thing with he killed his parents. I was like, oh, that was not supposed to, you weren't supposed to know that going into it. I didn't even realize that it was a plot twist because I was like, yes, that's so obviously what happened. I thought that they were trying to tell us that that's what happened. Also, CGI Robert Downey Jr. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, Civil War. Moving on to top four. So next up,
I thought we were at a standoff, 2 for Winter and 2 for Civil.
Okay, sorry.
Wait, why are there? Who said
I thought Relic like
what? Who said Civil War?
I didn't say Civil War.
I did.
You said
Oh.
Civil War over Winter Soldier.
Yes.
Wait, what did you say, Gio?
Winter Soldier.
So then
Winter
Gio's.
Soldier.
So then okay. So then yeah, Smitty's the only one that said Civil War.
Yeah.
So then yeah,
Oh,
Civil War
okay.
moves
I
on.
thought you said Civil War as well, Nate.
No, Civil. No, I hate Civil War. Civil War. Yeah, Winter Soldier. Sorry, Winter Soldier moves on.
Yes.
Okay. So next one, another easy one in my opinion to go through: Thor versus Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Like
That's
the
not
first Thor? Like the first Thor?
The first Thor.
obviously
Homecoming.
Spider-Verse.
So Thor.
I like to argue-
Actually,
I like to-
Thor brought a lot to the table in describing his powers of not having powers. So
I like
Spider-Man
the
can
part where he
kiss my
drinks
ass.
coffee and then he's like, I want another pill, I want another drink of coffee.
Where's that in the Spider-Man Homecoming? Nowhere, you fucking pleb.
Yeah, there was no hammers in Homecoming except for no, there wasn't no
No,
hammers.
they were
Workshop,
construction
workshop.
workers at the beginning. They were construction workers. They were hammers.
Well, no one cares.
Michael Keaton was fantastic in that movie.
They weren't cute
Who's
enough.
the villain? Who's the villain in Thor? Is it Loki?
No.
It's Loki,
It's the big
Iron
giant
Giant,
metal dude. It's the Iron Giant,
Yeah.
right?
No, the Devastator.
The Iron Giant, yeah. So like Ready Player
Devas-
One, and so I think that between Spider-Man and Ready Player One, I think Spider-Man's better. So
Yeah.
in my opinion,
Oh.
so yeah, Spider-Man moving on to the final four. Okay. Next up, this is gonna be a challenging one: Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 versus Avengers.
Avengers.
Avengers. Why do you say that?
Because I like that better than Guardians of the Galaxy. Volume
Why?
2.
Alright.
What's your
'Cause
logic?
when I saw Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, I'm like, oh, this is just the same thing as Volume
Wow.
1.
It's
I
like you
wanted
said that
something
in every
different.
Marvel movie that we
You
talked
just
about
said
when they had
that.
a
You said
sequel
that.
to it.
Oh.
You said that all the
Stroking his
sequels were
beard.
like, oh, they're all the same. They're all the same.
This one has Iron Man as well.
Every
What? They're
every Marvel movie is a copy off of Iron Man 2, even Iron Man 1.
Yeah, they knew what they were gonna make the second one. They just did the first. All right, so I disagree with you. I think Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is better. I think Avengers in theaters, it was such this big thing. It was like, oh my god, this is so amazing. But if I were like, I think the Avengers doesn't hold up as well as Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Maybe it's an unpopular opinion. I know people love the first Avengers movie, but to me, I have more fun. Like, I don't know. I just looking back on it now, if I were to have to rewatch one of those movies, I think I would probably pick Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, I would have to 100% agree with you, Nate, because Guardians of the Galaxy is just it had so much humor in it, and they were still getting stuff done as at the same time, even though it's surprising that how they did, if that makes sense. Because like freaking Drax was like hanging off to a ship trying to shoot the other ships away. He forced him. He jumped into a monster and tried killing it on the inside, but they were still getting stuff done. And overall, I found it a lot more funny than Marvel's Avengers. And I really enjoyed the overall like the bonding of the Guardians of the Galaxy, like every hero in it, versus the bonding in the Marvel.
Yeah, I would agree
not
with
Marvel.
that. In Avengers.
The Avengers, because they were like arguing in the very beginning of it.
I think it felt much more natural in Guardians of the Galaxy. Like you're like, these are definitely like their own people, and you can see how their flaws like come out when they're talking, and how like Rocket will project his own insecurities onto Peter, and like all these things. When in Avengers, it was just kind of like, Iron Man doesn't really get along with Captain America all the time because Iron Man likes to break the rules, and Captain America's got a stick up his butt.
And the Hulk likes to complain about his anger issues.
Yeah, so I don't know, Smitty, what's your take on this?
I have to go with Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes!
Volume 2. Just what I liked about it a lot is like they just fought so much at each other.
I know he said fucked so much.
Yes.
They
Yeah,
just, oh man,
I thought the orgy scene was just amazing in it, you know. But I really like how they fought together. I mean, against each other, when like just going at it the entire movie.
yeah, just
When
going
push come to
at it,
shove,
yeah.
yeah.
Shoving, pushing, yeah. I
push
am
come to
Groot,
shove.
yeah, you know,
When they had to be serious, they came together as a family and worked together.
yeah.
So I like that a lot.
So yeah, Volume 2 moving on. So Final 4, we are going to have Ant-Man versus the Winter Soldier, and then Spider-Man Homecoming versus Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Oh,
So first up, Ant-Man versus the Winter Soldier. I'm gonna have to agree with you. I think that the Winter Soldier I don't remember there being really any, like, the Falcon was funny in Winter Soldier. That was about it humor-wise, but I think otherwise it was just like a really well choreographed action movie that was really interesting. It had kind of some espionage spy elements that were cool to watch. Ant-Man was like, the heist movie.
I'm gonna have to agree somewhat to that. I think Winter Soldier had a lot more to give out than Ant-Man. I'm not saying it was a terrible movie. I just feel like it introduced more connections between the characters and not too strong connections like they did in Civil War. But Winter Soldier, I'm gonna have to say is way better. Not way better, but it's better than Ant-Man.
Okay, Gio,
By a fair amount.
Did you answer? I can't remember.
Said Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier. Smitty, what do you say?
I'm gonna have to go with the Soldier.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought that was relatively one of the easier ones.
And
out of the
finalists.
out of the four, I think this was the two. Out of the two that we're going to be pairing up against each other, I think this is easier. Because next we have Spider-Man Homecoming versus Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I really like both of these movies.
Yeah, this one's going to be hard.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, I would agree with Gio that I do think Spider-Man was better. Like, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, it's a good movie, and I enjoyed it. But, like, something about Spider-Man Homecoming was just so different, and especially after getting burnt, like, with those really bad Amazing Spider-Man movies by Sony.
3 was amazing.
And
Show your fucking
Okay.
No, not those Spider-Man movies, the other ones with Andrew Garfield.
Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, the Amazing Spider-Man.
Superb Spider-Man.
So I
Ultimate Spider-Man.
with that, I thought just everything, it was like kind of this whole thing, you finally get to see Spider-Man in the MCU, and he's such a iconic character, and you get to see him with these other characters that you've grown up watching, and just
I can't wait for him to get replaced.
What do you mean?
That'd be funny if they replaced, like, oh shit, I get rid of him. Now we gotta put Miles Morales in there. Get out of the way. We don't want this Spider-Man anymore.
Yeah.
We like to change it up every 5 years.
So
see, personally, I found Guardians of the Galaxy more enjoyable because I watched that one with my family. I just had a better feeling watching that movie because I just love the kind of humor they use. It's kind of my kind of humor. And I just, personally, I'm just going to have to say Guardians of the Galaxy, and mostly my points have been mentioned earlier.
I think Spider-Man is my favorite superhero of all time, and the way that they treated him, I didn't agree with every choice that they made in that movie, but just Peter Parker, I think that was Tom Holland's portrayal of Peter Parker has just been the best one yet. Andrew Garfield was kind of like, they kind of feel like they made him too cool, and then when they tried to make him nerdy, I feel like they overcorrected. So they're like, all right, let's have him like skateboarding and doing all this cool stuff, but then when he talks to girls, let's have him mumble for 5 minutes straight, and it's super unrealistic. But then
look at me, I'm an edgy teenager who skateboards who's got a hot girlfriend. My life is hard.
Because I take pictures, and people make fun of me for taking pictures. Yeah.
Hold on. Smitty, what was your say on this? I think I heard.
I'm gonna have to go with Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Fuck!
Yeah, I think Spider-Man.
Maybe because the Spider-Man just really hits deep to me, because as a kid growing up, I just loved Spider-Man since the beginning of like Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
See, like that was the same as me, but then I watched Guardians of the Galaxy. I just
I love Guardians of the Galaxy. It's like it's really hard to pick between these two movies because they're my favorite out of all the entire movies of the MCU.
Yeah.
But I have to go with Spider-Man.
Yeah, I agree. I just think, and again, I'm gonna just kind of go into, because now we're going Spider-Man versus Winter Soldier. I gotta say that Spider-Man, the one thing I loved about Spider-Man was just the way that they portrayed a superhero in such a different manner, where it's like he's a teenager and him being a teenager is actually relevant to the plot. It's not like in the other movies where it's like, oh, you see Peter Parker, you see him graduate high school, or you see him in high school for the first scene, so it's established that he is a high schooler, and then it's never mentioned again. It's a plot point throughout the movie. He's trying to balance being a high schooler with being a superhero, and it just works so well because that's what Spider-Man's all about. And it makes for such a unique movie that it's just so much fun, and it stands out from all the other movies. Winter Soldier, in my opinion, was a very fun movie, but I think it doesn't stand what's hold a candle? It doesn't hold a candle to Spider-Man.
Yep, 100% agreed.
Yep.
Kind of. I still think Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yo,
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Yeah, I just think that Spider-Man overall, I think it brings the most value for us. It's just like, I don't know, it's so fun to watch. You just get a big little smile on your face, even at the beginning when the opening credits are coming in and it plays the classic Spider-Man theme song, and then you see it's just all around everything. Michael Keaton is fantastic in it. He's one of the best MCU villains of all time. Winter Soldier, who's the Winter Soldier villain? That weird dude with the accent?
Oh, fun fact. Can I say this real quick?
What?
I went to Comic-Con in Rhode Island, and the Winter Soldier, the guy who played him, was there. So there's two buildings. One for all the big celebrities that go to. They have these giant booths, and there's like a little one for the smaller celebrities. In the big booth was the Winter Soldier. In the small booth, it had like Justin Roiland, who made Rick and Morty. When they announced the Winter Soldier, I forget his name, the Winter Soldier, like 20 times. Like every 10 minutes, they were like, just making sure everyone knows that the Winter Soldier is here. If you want to get autographs and pictures with him, he's in this lobby, in this area, or right here. No one fucking went to go see him. Not a single person went to go see him. Because everyone was too busy seeing Justin Roiland, and like his line was just insanely big. It was just insane. They had to cap it off so much. They told people, stay away from this corner of the building, all right? No one else can come here because we've capped it off. And there were like 10 guards covering it because they're like, no more people can come up here. We're crowded. When there was no one over there to see Winter Soldier.
So then there we have it, guys. The best MCU movie is Rick and Morty.
Yeah, there we go.
Right. Yeah, no, but yeah, if we're all in agreement, the best MCU movie to come out is Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Yeah.
I know.
No, it's Rick and Morty.
Yeah, clearly, you fools.
Spider-Man: Homecoming. No one. Winter Soldier.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
All right. Well, now I think considering, especially because Relic's having some issues here, we've decided Spider-Man is the winner. But let's see. Because I said at the beginning, what movie do you guys wish would win, and what movie do you guys think is gonna win? So. Interestingly enough, the movie that I wished was gonna win, I said was Spider-Man: Homecoming, and the movie that I thought was gonna win was Guardians of the Galaxy.
Wow.
See,
that was the same with me. I
thought I wanted Guardians of the Galaxy to win, but I honestly thought that the very first Avengers was gonna overcome it.
That was what my second guess was gonna be for the best. Gio.
Iron Man 2.
Iron Man 2. Okay, so you wanted to win. What did you think was gonna win?
Really? Like, you're not joking? That's what you actually thought was gonna win?
No, that's what he wanted to win.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What did you think was gonna win?
I probably would have thought Avengers or Winter Soldier.
Yeah, I didn't even think of Winter Soldier. I didn't expect the movie to get that far because I wasn't a huge fan of it. I thought it was all right, but I thought. Honestly, the way I thought this was going to go was we were going to pick Iron Man 1 over Ant-Man, and then Iron Man 1 was going to knock Winter Soldier out, and then it was going to be Spider-Man versus Iron Man. But, no, apparently not. You guys like Ant-Man for some reason. So, yeah, I mean, overall, Spider-Man was the winner. So, if you're going to see one movie before a new Avengers movie comes out,
Black Panther.
See Black Panther, because otherwise you're racist. So
Black Panther's in theaters right now, but in like 3 weeks it's gonna be on digital.
Yeah, exactly. So see it in theaters, or else you don't support black people.
If you don't see it, you're racist, and if you go do see it, you're racist because you're depriving a black man of seeing that movie and taking his seat. So fuck
what if
you.
you're blind? What's the middle?
So you watch it on Netflix when it comes, then you're not racist.
Exactly. You have to wait.
Yeah, so then and then take it off your previously watched, so you don't get recommendations based off of it, because those movies are for black people only. So
that got me really pissed off because people were like, "Oh, Black Panther is the first superhero on
Relic
on the movie theater." I was like, "No, it's not. It's actually the Falcon."
Relic.
What?
The podcast is over now. The ending music has started up and everything.
Oh yeah,
it's closing out. So thank you everybody for watching. I appreciate it. That's not the song, but okay. Thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you next time.